Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Now, the UK's PM has just yesterday announced that there are going to be pay hikes for everybody in the public sector, including staff in the NHS, junior doctors, police, railway workers, teachers, and so many others. Now, you will be wondering, oh, Nikita, pay hike is great, so why are you making a video on this? The answer is that even though this pay hike is going to be really amazing for all of the healthcare workers and all of the other people in the UK who work in the public sector, the people who are going to be affected the most are people like you and me who are on visa categories. Now, if you want to know more about this, do not forget to stay tuned to this video all the way to the end because I will be explaining why this is a problem, who is this going to impact, and from when these rules are going to be issued. But if you haven't already followed me on Instagram or on YouTube, now's your turn. My handle on Instagram is Physiotherapy in UK, so do follow me there. But if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, now is the time because I make videos not only for healthcare professionals but also for students and many other people who just want to come work in the UK and make a life for themselves. So do subscribe to my channel, guys. Alright, so just yesterday, the Prime Minister of UK, that is Rishi Sunak, has announced that in a certain conference that they've held recently, they've gone over all of the problems that the UK is facing at the minute. And obviously, like you are all aware, the biggest problem right now is the inflation and the cost of living. So if you are aware about any of this news, you would know that the inflation in the UK currently stands at 8.7%. Now, obviously, a lot of people in the public sector were not being paid enough or even being paid borderline enough to meet the standards of inflation and sort of manage their cost of living at the minute. And this included not only the nurses but other healthcare professionals, railway workers, teachers, etc. Obviously, because people have noticed that it's getting progressively harder for them to manage their costs of living within their pay packages and salaries, they've now decided to go on strikes. So over the last few months, there have been several categories of people who've gone on strikes, whether it is teachers, nurses, other healthcare professionals, ambulance staff, or even junior doctors as of recent. Now, obviously, if you watched my previous video, you know that people in the NHS have got a 5% pay rise across all of the bands, which is great. But also junior doctors right now potentially going to get a sort of pay increase over the next few months. However, the news that sort of is going to affect all of you is where is that money going to come for those pay rises? Because obviously Rishi Sunak has said that he plans to increase the pay for all of the people in the public sector at different levels. However, the bigger category of discussion within this conference was how is UK going to contribute to these pay rises over the next few months. So obviously, because Rishi Sunak has made this announcement, now the next question that comes into play within the UK is where is all of this money going to come for all of these pay rises? Now, there are two ways the UK government was planning to tackle the situation. Firstly, by increasing the taxes, but obviously the people in this country do not really support that because the taxes are already quite high. The second thing is by increasing the borrowing capacity. Now, again, this is something that the UK government has said, nah, we don't really want to do this. So now they've gone back and created an option for themselves, which is to increase the visa and the IHS costs. So like I've just said, obviously they're planning to increase the visa costs, but let's just see what is it that they're sort of trying to impact right now. So like I said, obviously they are planning to considerably increase the pay points or the pay hikes for all of the people within the sort of public sector in the UK, and they are aiming to nearly target 45% of the employees within the public sector to receive higher pays over the next year. Now, the question is, where are they going to receive this money and how much is this going to cost? So as per the current statistics, they've said that this entire sort of process is going to cost £2 billion. Now, obviously, £2 billion is a really huge sum of money. And like I explained before, a lot of this money, nearly about £1 billion, is going to come from all of the visa holders in the UK, including you and me. So if you are planning to come into the UK, or if you are planning to come into the UK even for work or study or even as a dependent, or even if you're planning to be in the UK and maybe switch a visa, maybe say you're a student going on to a work visa, or if you're on a work visa but you're planning to change employees, this sort of change is going to impact you all and it's going to be coming really, really soon. Okay, so let's come to the details of what the PM has actually said and what these plans would look like. Now, obviously, if many of you are aware, over the last few months, there have been several conversations about changing the visa rules generally across all of the visas. If you've watched this video, which I highly recommend you watch, you would know that a lot of the MPs just in the last few weeks have suggested about 12 massive changes, which is going to impact immigration, because obviously immigration in the UK has been a massive problem and they are trying to reduce it. So now the PM or the sort of Prime Minister in the UK, Rishi Sunak, has found a way to duly target both the recession, to duly target both the immigration and the problem of sort of the pay rises. So they've said that they obviously are going to increase not only the visa fees for all of the immigrants or all of the sort of people who are making applications to come in the UK, but they're also going to increase the IHS, which is the immigration health surcharge. Now, how is this going to help them? Because obviously, when they receive higher fees through the sort of immigrant population, they're just going to redirect all of that towards paying the higher salaries for people within the public sector. Now, if any of y'all are aware, you would know that the IHS, which is the immigration health surcharge, currently stands at £624 per year. So again, if you're making 3 years application on your work visa, that's going to be 624 multiplied by 3, which goes out to nearly £1,900, which is 1,90,000, guys. And obviously, if you need to do this for sort of 5 years, because that's the sort of time you're going to take to get your ILR, it's going to be even higher. Now, as per the recent reports, they've said that they are planning to change this sort of IHS and make it from hundreds into thousands. So it's going to impact your costs of visas massively and hugely over the next few months. So if you are planning to come into the UK into the next year, as per my last video, if you would have seen, just in terms of your IHS, you would have to have nearly £13,000 ready for yourselves. And this is only for the principal applicant. So again, if you had to come with family, say for example, your spouse or your children, the cost for IHS would be higher. And remember, we're just talking about cost for IHS over here. So that's just to cover your basic NHS costs within the UK, and this is a mandatory payment that you need to make whenever you apply for visa. But the IHS is not the only cost that's increasing. So they are planning to increase costs across all visas, whether it is work visa, student visa, PSW or dependent visa. So all of these visas are going to be impacted in the next few months, and be aware about this change, guys, especially if you are applying for UK visas and are planning to sort of come to the UK or immigrate into the UK. Now I know, because many of you all are healthcare professionals on my channel, the next question you're going to have for me is, Nikita, what about healthcare professionals? Because obviously, as you come under the health and care worker visa, we do not need to pay IHS costs. So let me just tell you, obviously there have been many recent conversations around this in the UK, and they are planning on introducing the IHS charges back into the healthcare system. So even if you are applying under the health and care worker visa, there have been conversations within the government about introducing the immigration health surcharge for this visa as well. However, nothing has been said in a very sort of legislative way, or there hasn't been any rule that's come up around this. So all of these sort of plans are in the pipeline, and they are being discussed by the government officials, and we just need to wait and see what they need to say about these things. So now let's just come down to the last two questions that are going to impact everyone in the UK and everybody who's planning to come to the UK. What is the increase that they are looking at potentially? So like I've explained to you before, a lot of these conversations are in the pipeline, and we don't really know the amounts or the exact figures that we are potentially looking at. However, just from everything that has been going on recently in the UK, I would say that it's going to be really expensive for people to come into the UK, and for people who are in the UK to potentially switch visas. So for example, for you to go from a student visa to a PSW, or from PSW to a work visa, or even when you switch employers, to switch between work visas. So it's going to get really, really expensive in the next few months. So keep that in mind. The second thing that I know is running on everybody's mind is, Nikita, when are these changes going to come into effect? And the answer for this is, again, I don't know, but we are potentially expecting this to come in really soon. So again, I know many of you all are in the process of applying for your COS, or have received your COS and are applying for work, or if you've received employment, have received your cash from your employers and in the process of applying for your work visa. My recommendation to all of you guys out there is try and make your visa applications right now if you have the essential documents, the proof of funds, and everything else that you require to apply for your work visas or your student visas. If you are confused about work visas and potentially getting your ILRs in the UK, please do not forget to check out these videos, because Everything is explained in massive details, and this will help you to clarify a lot of your doubts. But like I said before, we do not have any exact dates from when this rules will be implemented. Obviously, all of us just need to keep an eye out on the Government of UK website and the Home Office website just to see when these rules are going to be implemented for you and for me. Now, again, just remember that if you are interested in knowing more about this, please do not forget to follow my channel, because I will release these updates as soon as they sort of go live and they are going to impact any of us. So do subscribe to my channel, guys. But if you have any further questions, do not forget to leave them down in the comment section below, and I will try to get back to them. Take care, guys. Bye.